The Shape of Things. Chapter 1. The New Guy. Brad Mulligan walked into the bustling halls of Crestview High on a crisp autumn day, the air filled with the scent of fallen leaves and cinnamon-spiced lattes from the nearby cafe. He was the new kid in town, a transfer from a small school in Nebraska. Standing tall with a lopsided grin, he was instantly likable. But it wasn't just his charm that turned heads. It was his undying love for tight jeans. As Brad made his way to his first class, he caught sight of a trio of girls. Maya, Lydia, and Tjss, who were known for their impeccable fashion sense and jovial camaraderie. They laughed together, their tight jeans accentuating their figures in a way that sparked a genuine excitement in the air. "Hey, I'm Brad," he introduced himself with a wave. The girls paused, exchanging glances that suggested a playful mischief. Turning point 1. A fateful bet. A week later, after several friendly interactions with the trio, the girls decided to challenge Brad to a friendly competition. An old-fashioned game of truth or dare, after school. As the sun dipped below the horizon, they gathered in the dimly lit park. The air crackled with laughter and anticipation. "Dare," Brad chose confidently, looking straight at Tjss, who was known for her wild imagination. "I dare you to touch the butt of the next girl who walks by," Tjss declared gleefully. The stakes were high. The girls burst into laughter, their eyes twinkling with excitement. Brad, ever the willing participant, vowed to take on the challenge, knowing he was venturing into precarious territory. Chapter 2. The High Stakes. As luck would have it, moments later, a classmate named Tara, known for her bold personality and fashion-forward jeans, jogged past. Brad, in a moment fueled by excitement and surprised courage, reached out and playfully tapped her on the backside. The park erupted in laughter, but so did Tara, who spun around and raised an eyebrow, a mischievous smile dancing on her lips. "Nice move, new guy," she quipped, making Brad blush but also feel accepted. The thrill of the moment added a layer of connection between him and Tara, weaving an unexpected thread into the fabric of his new social life. Subplot. The dance of friendships. As weeks passed, Brad forged deeper friendships with the girls. They shared secrets and dreams. Maya wanted to become an artist, filled with the colors of her heritage. Lydia, the planner, aimed for a scholarship to the best colleges. And Tjss, the jokester, had aspirations of becoming a stand-up comedian. Brad found encouragement in their ambitions, and they, in turn, fueled his desire to become more than just the new kid. Turning point 2. The Whispered Secret. One weekend, while hanging out at Maya's house, the atmosphere shifted. They were sprawled on the living room floor, talking about everything from favorite movies to embarrassing crushes. Suddenly, Brad noticed Maya's demeanor change. She leaned closer and, in a hush, confessed her secret crush on someone from their friend group. Someone he recognized as Tjess's ex-boyfriend, Max. Why not just tell him? Brad encouraged, seeing the hope in her eyes. "I can't," she sighed, "I feel so stuck. What if it ruins everything?" This moment became pivotal. Brad realized that friendships sometimes come with unspoken rules and that navigating relationships was as delicate as they were complex. This revelation led him to reassess his interactions, especially concerning the girls and their relationships with each other. Chapter 3. The Big Event. As winter approached, Crestview High announced their annual winter formal. An event to which everyone looked forward. The buzz around the event brought not just excitement but also the potential for romance and revelations. Brad decided to take a chance and invite Tara, whose vibrant personality seemed to shine brighter with every interaction. Meanwhile, Maya, feeling inspired by her earlier conversation with Brad, finally gathered the courage to tell Max about her feelings. Turning point 3. The dance-off. The night of the formal arrived, and the venue was adorned with glittering lights and the faint scent of pine. Laughter and upbeat music filled the air. Brad and Tara's chemistry was palpable on the dance floor, both of them lost in the rhythm of the moment. When a dance-off erupted, an impromptu contest between the couples. Brad felt the rush of joy as Tara challenged him. The stakes. The winner got to choose the song for the next dance. They danced with reckless abandon, the jeans swaying with every move. Suddenly, as Maya spotted Max from across the room, she mustered all her courage and approached him to confess her feelings. To her surprise, Max had sought her out to discuss how he'd never quite gotten over her. Their immediate connection revived hope in the air. Chapter 4. The aftermath. The following days brought mixed emotions for everyone. Brad felt the harmony of friendships shift and solidify. He noticed Maya and Max becoming a couple, while he continued a budding romance with Tara. They explored their fondness for each other, taking evening walks and sharing ice cream conspiracies about the chaos of high school relationships. In this maelstrom of emotions, Brad realized his initial infatuation with being a playful new kid had turned into a deeper connection with the girls. Each of them brought light into his life, and the gestures he once thought were just fun had transformed into profound moments of friendship and burgeoning love. Epilogue. Growth and change. As the school year wrapped up in the cheerful melancholy of spring, Brad reflected on how far he'd come. What began as shallow gestures with tight jeans had morphed into lasting connections and cherished memories. Standing on the cusp of the future, Brad understood that life was a dance of sorts. A mix of laughter, risks, and, most importantly, the bonds formed along the way. In a world full of complexities, he knew that friendship and love would forever be the rhythm guiding his steps. The end. With every hug, laugh, and touch, Brad discovered that while the thrill of the moment mattered, it was the tenderness of connection that shaped a rich and fulfilling life. Beyond the surface, beyond the jeans, into the essence of what it truly meant to care. The Shadow of Brad. Beginning. The perfect facade. In the picturesque town of Willow Creek, nestled between sprawling hills and vibrant autumn foliage, life was seemingly perfect. The streets bustled with laughter, and coffee shops overflowed with chatter. At the center of this idyllic scene was Brad, a charismatic young man with a magnetic personality. With wavy brown hair, a charming smile, and a penchant for tailored clothing, he was the darling of the local social scene. However, beneath his polished exterior lay a deeply unsettling obsession. A mysterious history. Brad's upbringing was shrouded in secrecy. Raised by a single mother, he had always been told to keep his hands to himself and only take what he needed. Yet, as he grew older, he developed an unshakable belief that he was destined to be admired and desired. The approval he craved twisted into a bizarre fixation on the women of Willow Creek, particularly their fashion choices. Tight jeans that accentuated their figures were his particular weakness. Middle. The turning tide. Confrontation at the cafe. During a bustling weekend brunch at Willow Cafe, the cracks in Brad's facade began to show. Sarah, a spirited artist with an intense love for painting, had just moved to town. With her vibrant personality and unique style, she immediately drew attention. As Brad leaned in, oblivious to the discomfort radiating from the surrounding women, he brushed against Sarah, making her flinch. "Hey, watch it," Sarah exclaimed, eyes narrowing in disapproval. The room fell silent. The air thickened with tension. It was the first time anyone had dared to confront Brad's behavior. Fueled by the adrenaline of the moment, Sarah rallied the other women and challenged Brad's entitlement, igniting a spark of resistance among the women of Willow Creek. The Pact of Unity. In the weeks following the brunch, Sarah and a group of courageous women, Emma, the quiet librarian, and Mia, the fierce athlete, formed a pact. They decided to confront Brad while documenting his encounters, hoping to unveil the troubling pattern of his behavior. Their mission became both a quest for empowerment and a means to keep their community safe. The women shared their experiences as they deepened their friendship, revealing backstories of resilience, trauma, and defiance. As they gathered evidence, they uncovered a chilling thread. Each encounter with Brad left behind an unsettling energy that seemed to linger. The women began to notice that, beyond his unwelcome advances, Brad was manipulating the town's social dynamics for his own gain. Subtly pitting friendships against each other, using his charm like a puppet master. The biggest turnaround. One fateful night at a local gallery opening, the women finally captured irrefutable proof. Brad, fueled by arrogance, miscalculated his moves and was caught red-handed in an encounter with Mia. As cameras flashed, a wave of collective courage surged through the group. They pushed back against Brad's dismissive response, demanding accountability and a deep-seated change in their community. End. The reckoning. A town divided. The aftermath fractured Willow Creek. The confrontation sparked debates at town meetings, pitting longtime friends against each other. Brad's revelatory arrogance began to crack, revealing insecurities that had only fueled his troubling behavior. The chaos divided the town but also breathed new life into the women's movement. It prompted many to reflect on their experiences and examine the unspoken dynamics of entitlement and control that had festered beneath the surface for too long. The final showdown. In a climactic town hall meeting, Brad sought to salvage his reputation, painting himself as a misunderstood figure. However, Sarah, Emma, Mia, and the other women stood united, presenting their findings and stories. The emotional weight of their narratives resonated deeply within the audience, and the tide turned against Brad. The women's courage in sharing their truths sparked transformative conversations within the town, creating waves of unity that would resonate far beyond their immediate community. A new dawn in Willow Creek. In the afterglow of the showdown, Willow Creek began to heal. The women emerged as leaders, transforming their pain into a movement for awareness and change. Brad, reeling from the consequences of his actions, left town, leaving behind a legacy of caution. A reminder of the power of unity against entitlement. As the leaves turned crimson and gold, Willow Creek grew stronger, embracing the richness of its community. Conversations shifted from superficial gossip to meaningful dialogues about respect, consent, and empowerment. The women had not only reclaimed their autonomy, but they had also paved the way for future generations, ensuring that the shadow of Brad would never darken their streets again. Epilogue. A lasting impact. Years later, Sarah found herself back at Willow Cafe, surrounded by friends. The atmosphere was charged with laughter and a sense of belonging. The past echoed in her heart, but the warmth of solidarity enveloped her. The story of Brad became a cautionary tale. A reminder that even in the most picturesque towns, shadows can linger. But just as easily, they can be dispelled by the strength of unity and an unwavering commitment to respect and empowerment. The Mystery of Tight Jeans and Unseen Boundaries. Chapter 1. The Buzz of the City. In the bustling heart of Maplewood, a vibrant town known for its warm sense of community, the air was alive with laughter and camaraderie. This lively place, flanked by towering oak trees and vintage storefronts, was home to a close-knit group of women, each with their unique stories and ambitions, who frequented Bloomer's Cafe, the town's favorite gathering spot. The cafe buzzed with chatter, the smell of freshly brewed coffee wafting through the air, lingering along with the scent of pastries. Among the regulars was Sarah, an aspiring artist whose vibrant paintings adorned the cafe walls. She was known for her eclectic style and her determined spirit. Next to her was Elise, a sharp-witted journalist, always armed with her notebook and camera, on the lookout for her next big story. And then there was Mia, the chef, with an infectious laugh that filled the room as she recounted her culinary adventures. But the buzz was disappearing, a silent shadow lurking in the corners, knotting the camaraderie into a concerned hush. Rumors had begun to swirl around town about Brad, a well-liked but complicated figure, known for his charming smile and engaging personality. Chapter 2. Rumblings of Concern. Brad was a familiar face around town, a man whose easy laughter could brighten the gloomiest day. Yet, whispers began to complicate his reputation. Women spoke of uncomfortable encounters, murmurs of Brad's hands brushing against them. Unexpected, unwanted. At first, these stories felt like mere gossip, the kind that often bloomed in tight-knit communities. But as Elise dug deeper for her next article, she began to uncover a layer of troubling patterns. "Look, Sarah," Elise said one morning as they sat at their usual table, surrounded by the cafe's rustic charm, "these aren't just isolated incidents. There's a strange connection among the stories. Something isn't right." Sarah frowned, fingers nervously tracing the rim of her coffee cup. "It feels off. But Brad has always seemed harmless, right?" "Well, harmless isn't the same as innocent," Elise countered, her eyes bright with determination. "I plan to investigate further." Chapter 3. Layers unraveled. The investigation began to unfold, revealing complex interactions between Brad and various women in town. Elise interviewed several women, each telling their stories, some filled with discomfort and embarrassment, while others expressed confusing feelings about Brad's charm and their own reactions. Meanwhile, Mia noticed a shift in the cafe atmosphere. Her friendly exchanges with Brad became more strained as women began to rally support for one another, creating a protective circle that found strength in their shared experiences. As Elise compiled the stories, she uncovered the heart of the matter. Brad's gravitation toward women in tight jeans. It was a curious obsession that seemed deeply rooted in his past, which she later discovered stemmed from insecurities in his own childhood. Brad had often struggled with being seen. Not for who he was, but for his looks. The tightening of his perceptions created an unhealthy fixation reflected in his interactions, leaving many uncomfortable. Chapter 4. Confrontation and Revelation. As word spread and more women joined forces, the community began to transform. They created a support group. Sarah, Mia, and Elise became the core leaders, guiding conversations about respect and boundaries, teaching the importance of consent. It all came to a head during a town meeting where women in the community shared their stories publicly for the first time. Tension hung in the air as Brad stood in front of the crowd, the weight of his actions laid bare. "I didn't mean to make anyone uncomfortable," he stammered, but the words felt hollow, echoing back at him. Elise stepped forward. "Intentions don't erase impact, Brad. You need to understand that." Moments later, in a shocking twist, an older woman named Agnes, who had been quiet during the meeting, stood up. With quivering hands, she revealed that she too had felt disrespected years ago by someone she once trusted, and it finally clicked for everyone. Brad was not an isolated case but a symptom of a broader issue in their community. Chapter 5. Healing and Transformation. In the aftermath, the cafe became both a sanctuary and a space for rehabilitation. Brad, grappling with the impact of his actions, began attending workshops on consent and understanding boundaries. He sought to become a better person, reflecting on how his past shaped his present behavior. For the women, the support group blossomed into a movement for advocacy in Maplewood, promoting open dialogues about respect and awareness. They held events celebrating women's empowerment, showcasing the rich tapestry of experiences that intertwined their lives. Sarah's paintings transformed, vibrant depictions of unity and strength emerging from the struggles. Mia infused her dishes with stories of resilience while Elise penned articles that ignited conversations across the community. Chapter 6. New Beginnings. Months later, the town resonated with a fresh beat. One of healing, understanding, and growth. Brad, humbled but willing to change, worked alongside the women he once made uncomfortable, learning to contribute positively and responsibly. The vibrant bonds in Maplewood strengthened, as the cafe became a beacon of empowerment. Boundaries were respected, stories shared, and the community transformed through the mysterious journeys each woman had to undertake. One that had, in many ways, brought them together stronger than ever before. The real mystery lay not just in Brad's troubled past, but also in the unfolding stories of women who stood together, drawing strength from their complexities to shape a future of respect and understanding. And as the sun set over Maplewood, it illuminated a brighter path of connections forged through shared experiences, resilient hearts, and newfound hope. For they had unraveled the narratives that once divided them, stitching together a tapestry of unity, strength, and compassion. The end. Title: The Enchanted Realm of Ardentia. Chapter 1. The Festival of Connection. In the vibrant land of Ardentia, where emerald forests kissed the sapphire skies and rivers flowed like liquid crystal, the Festival of Connection was the highlight of the year. This event celebrated not only the bonds of friendship and community among its residents, but also the diversity and strength of women who dominated the landscape. Women were the architects, warriors, healers, and artists in this realm, each one driven by her unique story of empowerment. Among these remarkable individuals was Lyra, a spirited architect known for her innovative designs that blended nature and structure harmoniously. Lyra had inherited her mother's ambition. Her mother had fought valiantly for women's rights in a world where tradition often pushed against progress. Armed with the strength of her ancestors, Lyra sought to create a space at the festival where women could freely express themselves and forge new connections. As Lyra prepared her exhibit, she also supported her best friend Jasmine, a skilled herbalist plagued by self-doubt stemming from her family's expectations of her to follow a more traditional path. Jasmine's journey of self-discovery at the festival would form a subplot intertwined with Lyra's ambitions. Chapter 2. The Clumsy Encounter. Amid the preparation frenzy, a newcomer arrived in Ardentia. Brad, a kind-hearted clumsy artist whose intentions often led to unintended comedic situations. His fascination with the festival soon turned into a whirlwind of chaos as he tried to navigate the enthusiastic crowd. His intentions were noble. He wanted to contribute a mural celebrating the strength of women throughout history. In his exuberance, however, Brad found himself in humorous predicaments, often bumping into the bustling festival goers. He wasn't malicious or disrespectful, just haplessly awkward. His entrance created a series of comical misunderstandings, which ultimately led to light-hearted bonding moments that made the festival even more unforgettable. Chapter 3. The Unraveling Thread. As the festival progressed, both Lyra and Jasmine began to understand that their personal struggles were mirrored in the stories shared around them. They realized that despite Brad's clumsy nature, he brought laughter and light to moments shrouded in doubt and anxiety. During a pivotal moment, Lyra shared her architectural dreams on a makeshift stage, only to be interrupted by Brad's accidental display of his mural, which creatively represented both chaos and beauty. The crowd erupted in laughter, and instead of feeling embarrassed, Lyra found her fear dissipating. In that moment, she understood the importance of resilience and embracing unpredictability. Chapter 4. Bonds of Sisterhood. With newfound confidence, Jasmine stepped into the spotlight. Drawing from her struggle with her family's expectations, she recited a heartfelt poem about freedom and self-acceptance that resonated deeply with everyone. The ambiance shifted. The audience's laughter turned into applause, becoming a tide of encouragement that lifted Jasmine's spirits. Brad, still navigating his clumsy overtures, found his way into a dance circle with the women, reinforcing the bond of sisterhood. Instead of being a disruption, his energy brought joy to the festival. The three of them began spending time together, forming a friendship grounded in support. Chapter 5. The Turning Point. As twilight settled over Ardentia, the festival transformed into a kaleidoscope of lights. Lyra's exhibit began to shine, showcasing the collaborative work of women. Architects, philosophers, and artists, who paved the way for future generations. Yet subtle tensions arose as Jasmine grappled with the possibility of leaving her herbalist path to pursue poetry full-time, testing her bond with Lyra. In this moment of vulnerability, it was Brad's heartfelt encouragement that provided the turning point for them both. His humble acknowledgement of the importance of their dreams allowed both women to confront their own aspirations honestly. Lyra advised Jasmine to embrace her voice while reminding herself that her journey was uniquely her own. Chapter 6. A New Dawn. The festival concluded with the community coming together under a star-studded sky, where Lyra presented the mural that had become a symbol of their collective strength and unity. It wasn't just Brad's art anymore. It was a reflection of all the women who had shared their stories, triumphs, and hopes. As the festival closed, friendships were solidified and dreams rekindled. Lyra was inspired to push her architectural boundaries further, Jasmine took the courageous step toward her true calling, and Brad found a supportive community that embraced his quirks. Epilogue. The legacy of Ardentia. Life in Ardentia thrived post-festival, with Lyra, Jasmine, and Brad continuing their friendship and creative pursuits. Their stories intertwined, highlighted the importance of connection, acceptance, and the strength found within a supportive community. The legacy of the Festival of Connection endured, shaping the new generations of Ardentia, inviting them to express their individuality, embrace their journeys, and uplift one another in a world that believed in the power of women. They learned that laughter, empowerment, and connection could transform even the clumsiest of moments into unforgettable memories. Title: The Enchanted Realm of Everbright Grove. Chapter 1. The Whispering Woods. In the heart of Everbright Grove, a magical forest bathed in sunlight and sound, there dwelled a community of extraordinary women known as the Guardians of Grace. They were celebrated for their skills, wisdom, and strength. Among them was a spirited young woman named Jasmine, known for her fiery red hair and infectious laughter. One early morning, Jasmine gathered her friends in the village square, where the aroma of blooming lilacs filled the air. As she spoke with enthusiasm, her eyes sparkled. "Okay, everyone. It's time for the Festival of the Blossoms. We need to gather flowers and prepare," she exclaimed, clapping her hands together. Her best friend, Lila, with her deep blue eyes, adjusted the braid in her dark hair. "I've heard that the festival will be bigger than ever this year. Do you think the rumor is true?" Jasmine grinned mischievously. "Of course. I heard tales of a mysterious stranger arriving in the forest, someone with abilities beyond our wildest dreams. Perhaps he'll even show us magic." Chapter 2. The Arrival of Bradley. As preparations for the festival began, the trees whispered of a stranger. He was tall with sandy hair, and though he had a charming smile, he seemed to have a strange aura that both intrigued and intimidated the Guardians. They dubbed him Brad. One afternoon, while Jasmine and Lila were picking flowers, they spotted him attempting to help an elderly woman. "Good day to you," Brad called, his voice smooth like honey. "Need a hand?" Jasmine rolled her eyes humorously. "What a gentleman," she called out sarcastically, nudging Lila with her elbow. Lila giggled. "Is he as perfect as they say?" "Only one way to find out," Jasmine said with determination. Chapter 3. The festival begins. The Festival of the Blossoms arrived in a riot of color and laughter. Women of the grove donned flowing dresses and vibrant accessories. Lila had styled her hair with the flowers they'd picked, and Jasmine wore a crown of golden daisies. As the women sang and danced, Brad moved through the crowd with effortless grace. "Hey, Jasmine. How's the decorating going?" he called out, flashing his charming smile. "Fantastically well. But we'd prefer you not weaving through like a lost leaf," Jasmine replied playfully. Brad laughed, brushing closer to a group of friends, bearing an innocently playful demeanor as he offered to help. Chapter 4. The Dance of the Guardians. As twilight descended, the village began its grand dance. The air shimmered as sparks of light twinkled like stars. Jasmine felt invigorated, her heart thrumming to the rhythm. At that moment, Brad sauntered over and joined in the dance, twirling around Jasmine, who found herself both annoyed and amused. "I see you're quite the dancer," he exclaimed as he brushed past her, the energy of the moment intoxicating. Jasmine huffed in jest, "Careful now, or you'll dance right into the fountain." Chapter 5. A flicker of darkness. Just as the night peaked, an unexpected chill swept through the grove. A shadowy figure emerged, a siren who threatened to drain the joy from their celebration. The guardians banded together, determined to save their home. "Stay strong," Jasmine shouted as the guardians rallied behind her. "We will not let darkness win." Brad joined the fray, casting a spell of protection around the women. However, it became clear that his true powers lay in saving the community from itself rather than battling dark forces. Chapter 6. Awakening and Growth. In the aftermath, Jasmine realized that the inside of Bradley was filled with more complexities than she had anticipated. He carried the weight of fear, never wanting to let anyone close too soon. "Why do you push everyone away?" Jasmine gently confronted after the battle, her tone sincere. "Because I fear I'll be hurt again," Brad admitted, vulnerability pouring from him. "I've seen what happens when trust is broken." Jasmine offered a supportive embrace, ushering warmth back into his heart. "You can find strength in belonging. We're here for you, if you let us in." Chapter 7. The Choice. As spring transitioned to summer, the bond between Jasmine and Brad grew deeper. Yet, he struggled with the past mistakes he couldn't seem to shake. "I need to face my fears," Brad confessed one evening, looking at the stars. "But I don't know how." "Let's face them together. You are stronger than you believe," Jasmine said, her heart swelling with gratitude for their connection. Chapter 8. A New Dawn. The Guardians stood strong, their friendships fortified through trials, joy, and the magic of the grove. They united for one final festival, celebrating bravery, love, and the triumph of light over darkness. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Jasmine took Brad's hand. "We've learned together that love and trust go hand in hand." Candy-colored lanterns bobbed above them as the dance began anew, echoing laughter weaving through the night air. "Ready to dance through life?" Brad asked, grinning fully now, hope illuminating his face. "With you, always," Jasmine replied, her heart soaring. Epilogue. Everbright Essence. And so, the grove blossomed anew, a reminder that even in the depths of darkness, the bonds of friendship and community shine brightest. The Guardians of Grace continued to protect their home, for they knew that every heart has the potential to rise and awaken the magic within. The adventures of Jasmine, Lila, and Brad became tales told for generations, proving that together they could overcome anything, united in courage and love. The true enchantments of Everbright Grove. The end. The Curious Chronicles of Brad. The Butterfingers of Breezyville. Setting the scene. In the small, quirky town of Breezyville, where the sun seemed to shine a little brighter and the scent of fresh pastries filled the air, lived Brad Butterman, a well-meaning but clumsy character known for his exceptional penchant for tripping over his own feet and failing spectacularly at basic social cues. Despite his awkward demeanor, Brad harbored a sincere affection for the women around him, and his fascination often caused chaotic entanglements. Brad lived with his overzealous Aunt Mabel, a former cheerleader turned yoga instructor, who always encouraged him to put himself out there. The tight-knit community of Breezyville was both a support system and a circus. The residents included Ella, a determined journalist, June, an aspiring fashion designer, and Rita, a recently divorced woman rediscovering herself. Meet our characters. Brad Butterman. Backstory. Grew up in Breezyville, always the odd man out in school. With a heart of gold but 2 left feet, he often found himself on the fringes of social circles. Motivation. Longing for connection and acceptance, Brad seeks to prove he can be a reliable friend. Ella Johnson. Backstory. A gifted journalist who returned to Breezyville to cover local stories with a distinctive flair. Once a high school classmate of Brad, she carries a crush on him but is frustrated by his awkwardness. Motivation. To find a meaningful story that will propel her career and help her understand her own feelings for Brad. June Parker. Backstory. A struggling designer, she dreams of making it big in the fashion industry. She believes that originality is key, hence her obsession with creating unique jeans that are both comfortable and stylish. Motivation. To launch her fashion line at the annual Breezyville Fair, which could be her breakthrough moment. Rita Davis. Backstory. Recently divorced, Rita has taken the plunge into dating again while attending yoga classes led by Aunt Mabel. She struggles with her identity outside her previous marriage. Motivation. To rediscover her confidence and embrace the fun side of life. The story kicks off at the Breezyville Annual Fruit Festival, where all the townsfolk gather to celebrate with hayrides, pie-eating contests, and the much-anticipated fashion show featuring June's latest creations. Brad, having decided to step out of his comfort zone, finds himself enchanted by the spirit of the festival. As he stumbles around, he accidentally brushes up against a few women's rear ends while trying to navigate the crowded fairgrounds. Ella catches sight of this and decides it is time to confront him. Ella. Brad. Can we talk? You seem to have developed a pattern of, unintended physical contact. Brad red-faced. I swear I'm not doing it on purpose. I'm just, well, a bit clumsy. Ella. Well, you should definitely work on that bit clumsy part. It's not exactly charming. As weeks pass, Brad decides he must change to become a better version of himself, especially as he starts developing a crush on Ella again. Meanwhile, June plans her big fashion show, which is crucial for her future. Rita, inspired by the newfound determination in her life, volunteers to model for June's show. In preparation, June organizes a workshop where models practice walking the runway. Brad, wanting to help out, ends up in the modeling class by mistake, aiming to learn how to navigate social situations better. June. Brad, why on earth are you here? Brad. I'm just here to, learn how to walk without, stepping on people. The workshop goes haywire, with Brad tripping over everything, setting a new record for the number of people accidentally bumped into. During a pivotal moment, Rita walks onto the runway only to find Brad up against the wall trying to balance. With his hands struggling for grip, he accidentally causes a cascade of fabric to fall over June's designs, which leads to a comical fashion disaster. The tension escalates as Ella and other friends come into action, leading to sheer chaos and unexpected bonding. Major turning points. 1. The fashion disaster. The mishap at the runway creates a public relations nightmare for June, but it ultimately brings the community together in support, revealing Brad's genuine concern for his friends. 2. The heart-to-heart. As tensions simmer, Ella and Brad have a candid conversation. She admits she's frustrated with his clumsiness because she cares about him and wants him to grow. This moment becomes a catalyst for Brad. Brad, I guess I never realized being this way put you off. I just want to fit in, you know. But I keep. Ella. You're great, Brad, but you need to figure out who you are without needing to touch everyone to feel connected. 3. The fashion show finale. The fashion show, meant for June, turns into a celebration of community. With a spectacular last-minute collaboration, Brad organizes everyone, bringing them on stage to show true unity. A hilarious mishap occurs when Brad accidentally bumps into the judges, leading to uproarious laughter instead of outrage. The end. In the aftermath of the fashion show, Brad learns to embrace his quirks. He still stumbles but does so with newfound confidence. Genuinely connecting with the community without needing to touch people. Ella ultimately decides to write a heartfelt piece for her journalist role, highlighting not just the fashion but the humor and heart of Breezyville, putting Brad in a positive light instead of a clumsy one. Rita finds her footing in the world of dating, and June, with the community's support, officially launches her line with newfound inspiration. In the final scene, the festival draws to a close. Brad, surrounded by friends, happily reflects on how he has changed. Brad smiling. Who knew I'd find friends through so many butt collisions? Ella laughing. Let's keep the contact to a minimum next time, all right. They all burst into laughter, celebrating the delights of Breezyville. A town where friendships are cultivated, and bloopers are just part of the charm. Title: Brad's Bizarre Day. In the bustling town of Quirkville, where the ordinary was anything but, lived a man named Brad. Brad was not your typical guy. He was a whirlwind of chaos, a tornado of emotions, and today, he was feeling particularly furious. It all started with a mysterious phone call that sent his mind spiraling into a delirious state. "Hello." Brad answered, his voice tinged with irritation. On the other end, a girl named Lila giggled, her laughter echoing through the receiver like a mischievous melody. "Brad, you've got to come to the park. There's something you need to see." "Why should I care?" Brad snapped, brushing his unruly hair with a comb that had seen better days. He was already late for his trombone practice, but the thought of Lila's playful tone piqued his curiosity. "Fine. I'll be there." As he rushed out the door, Brad's trombone slipped from his grasp, clattering to the ground. "Great. Just what I needed," he grumbled, kicking it aside. "I meant my funny bone, not my trombone." When Brad arrived at the park, he found Lila surrounded by a group of friends, all giggling and pointing at a giant paintbrush that seemed to have a life of its own. "What is this?" he asked, bewildered. "It's a magical paintbrush," Lila exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "It can paint anything you imagine." Brad, always one to embrace the absurd, grabbed the brush and began to paint the air. "I make ladies faint and blush," he declared, twirling around like a dervish. "But I'm not in a rush." I'm a rush. The crowd erupted in laughter as Brad's antics grew more outrageous. He painted a giant jellyfish floating above them, and it began to sway, mesmerizing everyone. Let the trumpets blow, he shouted, mimicking a conductor, and the crowd joined in, creating a symphony of laughter and cheers. But then, a dripping faucet nearby caught his attention, its incessant drip driving him insane. Why won't you stop? He yelled at the faucet, as if it were a sentient being. You're ruining my masterpiece. Just then, a piece of bazooka bubble gum landed at his feet, and Brad's eyes lit up. I want that, he shouted, lunging for it, but it rolled away, and he went berserk, chasing it like a madman. I'll get you, gum. In the midst of his chaos, Brad found himself pondering the meaning of happiness. I could have everything in the world and be completely happy, or nothing and be miserable, he mused aloud. But what if I just have the right amount of stuff with the right people? Suddenly, a girl named Paige appeared, bungee jumping in a dress, her hair flowing like a banner in the wind. Brad, look at me, she shouted, and he couldn't help but admire her fearless spirit. Wow, you're amazing, he called out, momentarily forgetting his troubles. But then, a plane flew overhead, and in a bizarre twist of fate, it crashed into an underwater tunnel that had just opened. What kind of day is this? Brad exclaimed, shaking his head in disbelief. As the chaos unfolded, Brad found himself in a surreal dreamscape where he met God, who was surprisingly chill about the whole situation. You know, Brad, life is just a series of bizarre moments, God said, chuckling. Embrace the madness. With newfound wisdom, Brad decided to save a turtle trying to protect its eggs from a crocodile, which was in turn scared of a lion eyeing it hungrily. This is ridiculous. He laughed, realizing how absurd life could be. In a heroic twist, Brad and Paige teamed up to save elephants from poachers, their laughter echoing through the savannah. They even found time to watch their friends, Mary-Kate and Ashley, giggle at a movie called New York Minute, while Caitlin scored the winning basket in a championship game. As the sun set over Quirkville, Brad lay under the stars, contemplating his day. I may be a mess, but I'm living large and in control, he thought, feeling mentally charged. And who knows? Maybe tomorrow will be even crazier. With a peanut butter cookie in hand and a magic act planned for the evening, Brad smiled, ready to embrace whatever bizarre adventure awaited him next. After all, in Quirkville, every day was a comedy waiting to unfold. Title: The Echo of Brad. In the dim light of a flickering street lamp, Brad sat alone on a weathered park bench, the chill of the autumn night wrapping around him like a shroud. His trombone lay beside him, a silent witness to his fury. It had been a rough week. His heart was heavy, and his wallet was empty. The mysterious phone that had buzzed incessantly in his pocket was the only thing that seemed to keep him tethered to reality. Why won't you just stop? He muttered to himself, glaring at the device as if it were the source of all his troubles. The screen lit up, revealing a message from an unknown number. Meet me at the old theater. Midnight. Bring your trombone. Brad's heart raced. He was furious, not just at the phone, but at the world. He had broken his trombone during a particularly heated practice session, and now he was left with nothing but his funny bone. A bone that seemed to be laughing at him in his misery. He brushed his hair back with a comb, but it was futile. The wind had other plans, tousling it wildly. Why am I even here? He asked the empty park, his voice echoing against the trees. I should be at home, playing cards, living life. But something about the message intrigued him. He felt a rush of adrenaline, a drug-like high that made him forget his troubles. What's the worst that could happen? He thought, pushing himself off the bench. As he walked toward the old theater, the shadows seemed to stretch and twist, whispering secrets he couldn't quite grasp. The air grew thick, and he felt a chill that had nothing to do with the temperature. He was not in a rush, yet every step felt like a race against time. When he arrived, the theater loomed before him, a crumbling relic of a bygone era. The doors creaked open, revealing a dimly lit interior. The scent of dust and decay filled his nostrils. Hello, he called out, his voice trembling. Brad, a voice echoed from the shadows, smooth and inviting. I've been waiting for you. Out stepped a girl, her hair cascading like a waterfall of darkness. She wore a vintage dress that seemed to shimmer in the low light. I'm Lila, she said, her smile both enchanting and unsettling. You brought your trombone, I see. He glanced down at the instrument, suddenly feeling its weight as if it were a burden. Yeah, I did, he replied, his voice barely above a whisper. Good. We're going to make music together, she said, her eyes glinting with mischief. But first, you need to let go of your fears. Brad felt a wave of unease wash over him. What do you mean? Just trust me, she said, stepping closer. Let's play. Before he could protest, she snatched the trombone from his hands and began to play a haunting melody that echoed through the empty theater. The sound wrapped around him, pulling him into a trance. He felt his worries slip away, replaced by a strange sense of freedom. But as the music swelled, so did the shadows. They danced along the walls, twisting into grotesque shapes that seemed to mock him. What's happening? He shouted, panic rising in his chest. Just let it flow, Brad, Lila urged, her voice now a siren's call. Let the music take you. He tried to resist, but the melody was intoxicating. It wrapped around his mind, turning his thoughts to mush. He felt himself being pulled deeper into the darkness, the theater transforming into a nightmarish landscape where nothing was as it seemed. Help! He screamed, but the sound was swallowed by the music. The shadows closed in, and he realized he was trapped in a world of his own making, a twisted reflection of his fears and failures. As the last note faded, Brad found himself back on the park bench, the phone buzzing violently in his pocket. He looked around, disoriented, the theater now just a memory. But the echoes of Lila's laughter lingered in the air, a haunting reminder of the night he had danced with his demons. He brushed his hair back with trembling hands, the comb slipping from his grip. What just happened? He whispered, the chill of the night creeping back in. Brad was not just a man. He was a canvas, painted with the colors of his fears and dreams. And as he sat alone, he realized that the true horror was not the shadows that haunted him, but the darkness within himself that he could never escape. Brad stared at the blank wall in his small, dimly lit room. He was a good guy, always smiling and helping others. But deep inside, he held a secret thought that he could never share. He wished most people would just vanish, except for his close friends. Paige, Ashley, Mary-Kate, and Caitlin. They were the only ones who mattered to him. If anything happened to them, he thought his heart might break. Brad often felt trapped in a world that seemed dark and heavy. He could hear the whispers of demons in his mind, telling him he was alone. He sighed, thinking about how life seemed empty sometimes. He filled his days with meaningless tasks, but at night, the shadows crept in, and the thoughts became loud. He remembered the first time he met Paige. It was in high school, and she was sitting alone in the cafeteria, looking lost. Brad walked over and sat next to her. They instantly connected, sharing laughter and stories. From that day forward, she became his light. Without her, he felt like he would fade away. Ashley came next, with her infectious laughter. She had a knack for making everyone smile, especially during tough times. Then there was Mary-Kate, a dreamer with a kind heart. She always saw beauty in the world even when it was difficult to find. And Caitlin, who was fiercely loyal, stood by his side no matter what. One day, they all decided to meet at their favorite cafe. The place buzzed with energy, filled with laughter and the smell of fresh coffee. Brad sat at their usual table, looking forward to seeing his friends. But as he waited, a feeling of dread washed over him. The air felt thick, and the world outside seemed darker. When the girls arrived, he forced a smile. They chatted about their lives, sharing jokes and plans for the weekend. But Brad's thoughts drifted. He couldn't shake the idea of losing them. Just thinking about it made his stomach twist. What if something terrible happened? He knew he would crumble. Later that night, as he lay in bed, he couldn't escape his thoughts. He thought about the cyanide pills hidden in his drawer. Something he kept for a thrill, a way to feel something real. But deep down, he didn't want to die. He just wanted to feel alive, truly alive. The next day, Brad called the girls and suggested they go for a hike. They all agreed, excited to spend time together in nature. Out on the trail, the sun shone brightly, and life felt good. Laughter echoed through the trees as they climbed higher and higher. Suddenly, they stumbled upon an old, abandoned cabin. Its windows were broken, and vines crawled up its walls. Curiosity sparked in Brad's mind. "Let's check it out," he exclaimed. The girls hesitated but eventually followed him inside. The cabin was dark and musty. A chill ran down Brad's spine as he stepped inside. They wandered through the dusty rooms, laughter fading into whispers. As they explored, Brad found a strange diary on a table. Curious, he opened it, revealing pages filled with dark thoughts about life and death. The handwriting was shaky, and he felt uneasy. "This place gives me the creeps," Caitlin said, glancing around nervously. "Let's go," Mary-Kate added, pulling at Brad's sleeve. Just then, they heard a loud crash from the back of the cabin. The girls froze, fear gripping their hearts. "Maybe it is just an animal," Ashley whispered, but they all knew it felt wrong. Brad's heart raced. The demons in his head grew louder, whispering fears he tried to suppress. "I'll check it out," Brad said, trying to sound brave. "Stay here." But as he turned to walk away, Paige grabbed his arm. "Don't go alone, Brad," she pleaded. "Please," he replied. "I need to see what it is." With a deep breath, he moved towards the darkness in the back. The shadows closed in around him, and he felt the weight of his fears. The room he entered was colder than the rest. He noticed a figure in the corner, shrouded in darkness. It seemed to watch him, a grin that chilled him to the bone. "Hello, Brad," it said, voice like gravel. He stumbled back, heart racing. You shouldn't be here. The figure pointed outside. They are not safe. The world is dangerous. You want to protect them, don't you? What do you mean? Brad queried, confusion mixing with dread. Only one way to make sure they live, it hissed, and the shadows twisted around it. The cabin felt alive, pulsating with an unseen energy. Brad's mind raced back to the pills in his drawer. The thought of loss and the urge to protect his friends collided in a whirlwind of emotion. No, he shouted, shaking his head. He couldn't lose them. He wouldn't. Just then, the girls rushed in, faces pale with fear. The shadow stilled, eyeing them curiously. Protect them, it murmured before disappearing into the wall. What was that? Ashley gasped, pulling Brad close. I don't know, but we need to leave, Brad said, grabbing the girls. They hurried out of the cabin, relief washing over them as they stepped into the sunlight. As they walked back down the trail, Brad felt a mix of fear and resolve. He wouldn't let his demons win. He held tightly to his friends, knowing that as long as they were alive, he had a reason to fight. And for the first time in a long time, he realized life, with all its shadows, was worth living. Brad's arcade adventure. The quest for quarters. The fluorescent lights of Joey's arcade flickered and hummed, casting a kaleidoscope of colors onto the worn carpet. The air buzzed with the sounds of game machines beeping and the occasional cheer from a group of kids scoring high. Quarters clinked in the pockets of young and old alike, the currency of joy in this digital wonderland. Brad, a lanky 16-year-old with messy hair and a wide grin, stood in front of the latest beat-em-up game, Galactic Warriors. He swiped his last quarter into the machine, a mixture of excitement and anxiety bubbling within him. 50 cents. That's insane, he exclaimed, watching his character do a slow-motion backflip through laser beams. Brad had always believed in the magic of the arcade, where each game was a world waiting for him to conquer. But he was down to his last few quarters. And who could forget the infamous $1 free play special? The thought made him shiver. Suddenly, a girl approached. Her name was Caitlin, a fast-paced whirlwind of a friend who was always in a hurry. "Hey, Brad, you're missing Paige's birthday party," she shouted, her voice barely cutting through the symphony of arcade chaos. "Not now, Caitlin. I'm in the heat of battle," he replied, eyes locked onto the screen, determination etched across his face. "Here comes a girl," Caitlin shouted again, pointing towards an incoming crowd. Brad looked, just to see the girl walk right past him. He chuckled, "Well, she's definitely not coming my way." Caitlin rolled her eyes, trying not to laugh. "You and those video games. Come on, I'll be there in a sec. I just have to defeat the boss level." He called back, but he knew the truth. He was only one quarter away from ultimate defeat. Brad pushed a button, his character firing lasers in a rhythmic pattern. He could hear the faint sighs of other players waiting for their turn behind him. "Honestly," Caitlin continued, "you might just win an award for most overdue player. That's what they told me at the last tournament." Brad laughed, glancing over to her. But as he focused back on the screen, his character got zapped. Caitlin snorted, "See? Even in your fantasy world, you're having trouble. Enough of this. Time to unleash my super secret move." He mustered the focus and skill he had accrued over countless hours spent in these pixelated realms. Just as he was about to strike, Caitlin's unexpected arrival shifted his concentration. His character paused. The screen went dark. "Game over. No, my quest for arcade glory," he shouted, but Caitlin was already tugging at his sleeve. "Brad, come on. Paige is waiting." "Fine. I'll save the galaxy another day," he groaned, begrudgingly stepping away from the arcade machine. As they rushed towards the nearby community center, Caitlin filled him in. "You know, Paige has been looking for you. She even cried a little when you didn't show." I didn't realize." Brad's heart sank. He pictured Paige, the birthday girl, bright-eyed and always so kind. They had shared countless laughs, but today was her special day. He couldn't let her down again. Just as they burst through the doors, the hum of mixed chatter enveloped them. A table laden with colorful frosting cakes caught Brad's eye. His favorite, a chocolate ganache, gleaming like a golden trophy. "Look who finally decided to show up," shouted Lee, another friend, while signaling them to the center of the room. Paige was there, surrounded by friends, but her eyes lit up the moment she caught sight of Brad. "You came," she exclaimed, her gaze warm and inviting. "Of course, Paige," Brad greeted, but a nervous knot formed in his stomach. He cracked his knuckles, a habit he had when anxious. Paige winced. "Don't do that, you may break a finger and give me a heart attack." Brad, catching his breath, attempted to lighten the moment. "I was thinking about bringing you a Big Mac." "Oh, and where is it now?" she queried, raising an eyebrow. "Well, I might have eaten it on my way here," he admitted sheepishly. What? She exclaimed, half amused, half serious. You know I was looking forward to that. But wait, Brad paused, his comedic side kicking in. Do you know how many calories are in a Big Mac? Paige crossed her arms. 0. Not quite. He laughed nervously. Much more. Brad, you are my hero. She sighed, rolling her eyes but chuckling nonetheless. Suddenly, the door swung open, and there stood Travis, the class bully, and his gang of misfits. What's going on? Everyone's having fun except us, right? He jeered. Brad stepped forward, pulling his shoulders back. You think you can just spoil Paige's party? Travis smirked. What's the arcade gonna do? Zap me with pixels. Caitlin whispered urgently. Brad, don't engage. But there was something about standing up for Paige that made Brad feel oddly heroic. You want a showdown? He yelled. Let's take this outside. Paige placed a hand on his arm. No, Brad, don't. It's not worth it. Maybe not, but I've fought through bosses tougher than you, he retorted, feeling the rush of adrenaline. The room felt electric as all eyes turned toward the encounter. In that moment, Brad knew what he had to do. He challenged Travis to a game of Galactic Warriors right then and there. Winner gets to decide who has to leave this party, Brad declared. Travis laughed dismissively. You sure you want to make it that easy? You're gonna lose. But as the game booted up, Brad's fingers were ready. The arcade culture buzzed around as the crowd cheered, and soon he found himself locked in the classic arcade showdown. The game commenced, and Brad unleashed everything he had learned from countless playthroughs. With every click, every tap, he could feel the support of Paige and Caitlin next to him. The tension heightened with each point scored. Finally, with one final hit, Brad defeated Travis's character, leaving the bully in shock. The crowd erupted into cheers, echoing Brad's laughter through the arcade. Travis, grumbling, exited in defeat. What just happened? Caitlin exclaimed, beaming. I don't know, but it feels good. Brad grinned, feeling a sense of confidence swell within him. Paige approached, her eyes twinkling. You really are my hero, Brad. As cupcakes were served and laughter filled the air, the camaraderie of friends enveloped Brad. The arcade magic had transferred to the party, where joy resonated even louder than the game sounds. Let's make sure your birthday's always a party, Brad exclaimed, raising a cupcake in salute. And next time, bring me my Big Mac. Paige shot back with a playful glare. Deal, he replied, finding joy in the moment. Together, they melted into the celebration, where friendships flourished, laughter rang, and adventure was a mere quarter away. Brad's arcade adventure. The arcade was alive that Saturday afternoon. Bursts of color flashed from the screens, drowning out the ambient chatter and laughter of kids high on the thrill of gaming. Brad stood in front of a jam-packed machine, sweaty palms clutching a handful of quarters. He felt the weight of his pocket. Each coin a promise of adventure, each a ticket to virtual excitement in a kingdom filled with pixelated monsters and heroic quests. Brad had always been a dreamer. As a kid, he often fantasized about becoming a game developer, creating adventurous worlds just as immersive. He was 18 now, still at the arcade, still dreaming. He looked at the quarters and thought, 50 cents. That's insane. 75. No way. $1 for a chance at free play. Maybe. His thoughts evaporated as he caught a glimpse of movement. There she was. Maddie. Her ponytail swung in rhythm with her stride as she made her way to the Dance Dance Revolution machine. Brad felt a swell in his chest. It wasn't that he liked her. It was that she ignited something adventurous. But before he could summon the courage to greet her, she smiled and waved at someone else, leaving Brad with a chuckle and a shake of his head. No matter what happens, he thought, I'll make it better. He imagined himself rapping a playful verse, the words coming out like a firefly flitting from one joy to another, illuminating the arcade for a moment. Yo, here I am at the arcade. Kicking back, I'm unafraid. Got my quarters. I'm on a roll. Brad the Brave, that's my goal. His laughter dissipated as he shifted his focus back to the screen. There were digital enemies lurking on his screen. Zapping them was the key to saving the day, and with seemingly every square inch of combat space filled with bright colors, Brad felt invincible. As he levied his virtual powers, a familiar voice cut through the frenetic energy. Brad. Come on, hurry. It was Caitlin, his childhood friend and the voice of reason in their crew. What's up, Kate? He replied, his eyes flicking to the score. Paige's birthday party is about to start. Caitlin's urgency laced the air. She's crying. They gotta go now. Brad paused, the virtual world slipping away like water from his fingers. Paige. His mind raced back to their childhood memories. The joys they'd shared, their silly games, and the secrets they swore to carry forever. A sudden wave of guilt washed over him. He had intended to be at the party early, but the allure of the arcade had tangled him in webs of excitement. Let's roll. He shouted, already moving. The zap of victory faded behind them as they burst through the arcade doors, rushing towards reality. When they arrived, they found Paige sitting at a table, surrounded by friends. Tears streaked down her cheeks like raindrops on a car window. Where were you guys? She managed between sobs. With Caitlin's gentle nudging, Brad stepped forward. I'm sorry, Paige. I got lost in the adventure. Suddenly, he felt every nerve tighten. What would she say? But Tammy, one of Paige's friends, chimed in with uplifting words. We love one another, right? With a deep breath, he stepped up to the birthday girl and exclaimed, Hey, happy birthday, Paige. Paige sniffled and smiled, saying, Oh, Brad, you made it. He felt her warmth seep through the chilly atmosphere. Then came his moment, the reveal, I bought you a Big Mac. But realized, with horror, it was gone. Eaten amidst his gaming spree. You ate it. She gasped, a mix of disbelief and disappointment coating the air between them. Brad's heart sank. He truly thought that would have made her happy. Wait. How many calories does a Big Mac even have? He asked, trying to lighten the mood. 0, she quipped while trying to stifle a smile. Heck no, much more. He exclaimed. In that moment, Paige's smile returned, and just like that, Brad, you are my hero. The weight of expectations shifted, and laughter bubbled forth, drowning out the worries of the day. As the party continued swimmingly, interconnected stories unfolded. Caitlin shared stories from the past that deepened their bonds, while Brad finally understood the value of being present. Just as the cake was about to be served, a group of older kids entered the room. They were troublemakers from school, known for teasing the younger crowd. Brad sensed a confrontation rising, tension crackling like static in the air. Was this his chance to be brave? "Hey, guys!" he called out, interposing himself between them and Paige. "What are you gonna do, little hero?" jeered one of the older kids. In an unexpected twist, Caitlin joined him, standing firm. "You're not welcome here. This is a birthday party." "Then let's party," Brad yelled as he chimed into an impromptu rap, channeling the arcade spirit. Their laughter echoed, forming a protective bubble against the negativity. The older kids, bewildered, slowly eased back, chuckling awkwardly before wandering off, deflated. With the older kids gone, Brad turned back to the celebration, his heart swelling with joy. They sang, played games, and enjoyed the cake, filling the room with laughter and warmth. Each moment swirled together, creating a tapestry of memories. As the sun dipped behind the horizon, casting an orange glow through the windows, Brad witnessed something profound. Friendship, adventure, and love converging. This was more than just an arcade or a birthday party for him. It was an illustration of life's unpredictability, where dreams collided with reality and the importance of being present shone brighter than the lights of the arcade. In the end, Brad realized it didn't matter how many quarters were in his pocket. The real adventure was the joy found in the connections made and the laughter shared. And that was worth all the shiny quarters in the world. Brad's high-score adventure. The fluorescent lights buzzed above Brad as he casually leaned against the arcade cabinet emblazoned with a vintage design, exuding the scent of stale popcorn and bubblegum. The rhythmic blips and beeps of video games formed a chaotic symphony that pulsed through the air, mingling with laughter and the occasional shout of victory or despair. This arcade, Pixel Paradise, was a holy ground for enthusiasts like him, filled with the sweet nostalgia of 90s video games and the promise of glory in pixelated battles. Brad, a 17-year-old with spiky hair and an unruly sense of humor, was often seen as the comic relief amongst his friends. His shirt, a brightly colored mashup of retro game characters, told a story about his life. Filled with laughter and a penchant for escaping reality. Behind his jovial facade, however, lay the profound fear of running out of quarters. 50 cents. That's insane, he exclaimed to himself, watching his last quarter slip from his fingers. 75 cents. No way. And $1 with a chance at free play. Madness. He sighed dramatically, his thoughts trailing off as he spun around to take in the atmosphere. The arcade was alive in wondrous chaos, yet, for him, it felt a little like a ticking clock. Each quarter a heartbeat. Just when Brad was about to launch into a soliloquy about the tragic fate of his dwindling quarters, a girl strolled into view, her laughter sliding through the crowd like sweet melody. It was Mia, a fellow gaming enthusiast and occasional sparring partner in the arcade's champion puzzle game. With her brown curls bouncing, she seemed to light up the dingy space. "Hey, Brad," she called teasingly, a playful grin on her face. "Still living on the edge, I see. What can I say? If I had a quarter for every time I ran out of quarters." Brad replied, chuckling. But she was already gliding past him, off to the racing game, her speed almost breathtaking. But wait. Brad thought, conjuring the courage of 1,000 tiny warriors in his belly. Instead of dwelling on the missed opportunity, he shrugged to himself and prepared for the impending challenge against the arcade foes. No matter what happens, I make it better. He chanted, ready to launch into his inner rap mode. Rappin' and zappin', the sounds of the arcade faded as Brad imagined himself as the hero of his own game. Flexing imaginary muscles, he began rapping about his gaming journey. Yo, Brad in the house, holdin' down the fort, quarters in my pocket, I'm ready for sports. Enemies lurkin', but I'm a warrior true, press start, hit 'em hard, and know what to do. With that rhythm echoing in his mind, he dove into gameplay at Alien Assault, a shooting game where players could decimate pixelated aliens and earn back lost quarters. As he maneuvered his character, his fingers danced over the buttons, zapping virtual threats left and right. The stakes rose within the game as Brad reached the final boss battle. A gargantuan pixelated alien laughed maniacally. Thou shalt not pass. It boomed, zapping lasers in every direction. But my quarters will never die. Brad declared theatrically, triggering an epic combo that brought down the mighty foe. The screen flashed, you win. And with it, a cascade of colorful pixels rained down in a dance of victory. Excited and exhilarated, he had earned back 2 quarters. In the joyous aftermath, Brad couldn't ignore a growing sense of something odd. Across the arcade, he spotted a group. Gary, the local bullies, gathered around multiplayer pinball, seemingly up to no good. What unfolded next was a series of interconnected choices. In his victory high, Brad decided to confront them. Hey, how about we channel our energies into gaming rather than bullying kids for their quarters? He proposed, half joking, half serious. Gary shot him a glare. Why don't you stick to your silly games, loser? The tension thickened. Just as the situation escalated, Mia appeared beside him, her presence instantly changing the atmosphere. Leave him alone, Gary. Maybe you could try winning a game for once instead of picking on people. She chimed in, nudging Brad to stand tall. Encouraged by her bravery, Brad challenged Gary to a game of Street Fighter, for pride and quarters. The stakes were raised. A winner-takes-all battle. As they fought in the virtual ring, the entire arcade congregated around them, chirping and cheering. Brad executed a brilliant combo that knocked Gary's character out of the tournament. Hope you have enough sense for the ticket home. He shouted, claiming victory and newfound respect. Encouraged by the crowd's cheers, Brad realized the synergy he shared with Mia after witnessing her boundless spirit. They happily played through several more games together, crafting an unbreakable bond. As the sun dipped beyond the arcade's neon glow, Brad and Mia found themselves in the chaotic aftermath, surrounded by echoes of laughter and the promise of future duels. We should totally team up for the tournament next week, Mia suggested, her eyes glimmering with excitement. Absolutely. But I might need to beg my mom for more quarters, Brad laughed, feeling lighter in spirit than ever. Mia raised an eyebrow and grinned. If we lose, we could always just rap our way through the games, showing them they can't defeat the power of joy. And that's how Brad learned that sometimes, amidst the chaos and challenges, laughter and friendship were the ultimate high scores. The arcade wasn't just a place to game. It was a ground for forging connections. As he left that day, his heart was fuller than his quarter pouch had ever been, and it felt just right. And amidst starlit dreams, Brad and Mia embarked on a new gaming odyssey. A duo ready to take on tournaments and the world, illustrating how laughter and friendship could transform even the smallest of moments into epic adventures. Title: The Enchanted Boulevard. Cruisin' down the boulevard, sun setting low. Got my radio up loud, rockin' to the show. In the rearview mirror, I catch a neon light. A vision that stops me, oh what a sight. In the magical town of Denhamvale, where the streets shimmered with enchantment, the air was thick with the scent of adventure. The townsfolk often spoke of the legendary girls in tight jeans, a group of spirited young women who possessed a unique charm. They weren't just fashion icons. They were the keepers of the town's magic, weaving spells with every sway of their hips. As I parked my trusty steed, a slightly rusty but reliable bicycle, I felt the energy shift. The girls were out in full force, strutting down the boulevard like they owned the place. With every step they took, the world seemed to brighten, and the music from the nearby cafe danced through the air, inviting everyone to join the celebration. "Look at them!" I exclaimed to my friend Brad, who was busy adjusting his oversized glasses. "They steal the scene, don't they? Girls in tight jeans, they're living the dream," he replied, his eyes wide with admiration. "Oh, they know how to move, with every step they take. It's like they're casting a spell on us." Indeed, they were. The girls had a knack for turning heads, and as they laughed and twirled, the very fabric of reality seemed to bend around them. I felt a strange pull, as if I were being drawn into their magical orbit. "Tonight's the night," Brad declared, puffing out his chest. "We're going to dance with them." "Right," I said, trying to suppress a laugh. "And how do you plan to do that? You can barely dance without tripping over your own feet." "Challenge accepted." He grinned, and with that, we made our way to the dance floor, where the sparks collided and the city came alive. As the music thumped, I watched the girls in tight jeans light up the room. They moved with such confidence and grace, their laughter ringing like chimes in the wind. I felt like a moth drawn to a flame, mesmerized by their energy. "Hey, you!" one of them called out, her voice playful and teasing. "You look like you could use a dance partner." I blinked, stunned. "Me? But come on, don't be shy." She beckoned, and before I knew it, I was swept into the fray, my heart racing like a runaway train. The dance floor was a whirlwind of color and laughter. I stumbled through the moves, but the girls were forgiving, their smiles encouraging. "Just let loose," they shouted, and I found myself laughing, forgetting my worries. "Girls in tight jeans, you're my heart's delight," I sang, half jokingly, as I twirled with one of them. She had a sparkle in her eye that made me feel like I was floating. But then, as if the universe had a sense of humor, I tripped over my own feet and landed right at the feet of a girl with the most dazzling smile. "Nice moves," she teased, helping me up. "You've got potential." "Potential. More like a potential disaster." I chuckled, brushing off my jeans. "Hey, at least you're trying," she said, her laughter infectious. "I'm Lila, by the way. And you're not half bad for a first-timer." As the night wore on, I learned that each girl had her own story, her own magic. They were not just fashion icons. They were adventurers, dreamers, and mischief makers. They spoke of quests to find the rarest denim fabric, of battles fought against the drabness of everyday life, and of the ancient wisdom passed down through generations of tight jean wearers. "Did you know," Lila said, leaning in conspiratorially, "that the secret to our magic is laughter? It's what keeps the enchantment alive." "Then let's keep laughing," I declared, and we danced until the stars twinkled like diamonds above us. As the night came to a close, I realized that I had found something special in Denhamvale. It wasn't just about the girls in tight jeans. It was about the joy of connection, the magic of friendship, and the beauty of being unapologetically yourself. "Maybe I'll write about this in another rhyme," I mused, feeling inspired. Time will tell. Just remember, Lila said, winking, you don't need to be a dope fiend to find magic. Just be yourself, and let the laughter flow. And with that, I rode home, the echoes of laughter and music still dancing in my heart, knowing that I had been part of something truly enchanting. Chapter 1. The World of Tight Jeans. Brad Collins had always considered himself a connoisseur of life's quirks. An aficionado of humor and all things unexpected. He lived in a vibrant city that pulsed with energy, where the sidewalks were lined with stylish cafes, and laughter erupted from every corner. In this bustling metropolis, fashion statements were as loud as the city's traffic, and none were more iconic than the tight jeans that wrapped around the legs of its most fashionable residents. Every day, as Brad strolled through the crowded streets, his eyes caressed the curves of those dazzling denim-clad women. For reasons he couldn't articulate, there was something captivating about the playful bounce in their steps. They seemed to carry confidence as effortlessly as they wore their jeans, which sparked a curious desire within him to engage with their world. This infatuation morphed into a mission. Brad decided it was high time to bring a little levity and charm to his encounters with stylish women. Armed with his quick wit and infectious smile, he envisioned himself seamlessly weaving into conversations with elegance. He was convinced that he could turn the simple act of complimenting someone into an art form. After all, Brad was funny. One crisp Saturday afternoon, fueled by an extra shot of espresso, he stepped out of his apartment and into the adventure waiting on the city streets. His first target was a quaint coffee shop, where the scent of fresh pastries mingled with the buzz of conversation. As he entered, Brad's eyes were drawn to a woman sitting alone by the window, her phone resting beside an intricately designed cappuccino. She wore high-waisted tight jeans that complemented her chic sweater. A perfect candidate for his foray into flirtation. Summoning his bravado, Brad rehearsed his approach in his mind. Just be yourself, but funnier. He whispered to himself. He sauntered towards her table, attempting to channel a suave demeanor that likely looked more like a duck waddling than anything resembling cool. Nice jeans, he blurted, as he awkwardly leaned slightly closer to her. The woman raised an eyebrow, her surprise evident, then a smile crept onto her lips. Is that your best pickup line? Because I've heard better from my grandmother, she joked, her eyes sparkling with mischief. The embarrassing reality hit him like a cold splash of water. My grandmother. I don't even. No, wait. I meant they're stylish. He stammered, his face flushing crimson. This was not the suave introduction he had envisioned. As laughter erupted from her lips, he realized he had made a blundering attempt at charm that had only succeeded in making him a comedic foil in their little moment. Nevertheless, he couldn't help but laugh at himself, the humiliation morphing into something lighter. Brad, by the way, he said, extending his hand. And as terrible as this interaction has been, I promise I'm not usually this awkward. Nice to meet you, Brad. I'm Lily. Don't worry, your awkwardness makes you endearing, she smiled, easing his embarrassment. They exchanged bemused glances, and just like that, the conversation began to flow easier. The awkwardness melting away under the bright glow of shared laughter. Yet, Brad knew he hadn't quite mastered his mission. He needed to navigate the world of tight jeans with greater finesse, lest he become the punchline himself. As he continued his day, Brad funneled his experiences into a series of comic misadventures. He tried talking to more women, each with their own laughter, eye rolls, and bemusement at his unconventional approach. Each experience was a whirlwind of failed introductions, comments that landed flat, and moments of realization that not every woman he admired could be approached with the same playful spirit. But in the charming chaos of the city, Brad began to understand that charm wasn't solely about the furnishings of style. It was about respect, humor, and genuine connection. As he sauntered home that day, scribbling down his thoughts in his ever-ready notebook, he couldn't help but smile. Another lesson learned in the world of tight jeans and triumphant laughter. Misadventures in flirtation. In the bustling heart of downtown, where every corner boasts cascading laughter and the hum of contemporary life, Brad was fast becoming known as the neighborhood jokester. His signature style, enthusiastic, if somewhat misguided advances toward women in tight jeans, had already led him down a comedic path riddled with slapstick moments and narrowly avoided disasters. It all started on a brisk afternoon during his daily coffee run, a ritual that typically buzzed with excitement. Brad entered his beloved cafe, the Java Oasis, when he noticed a particularly stylish woman by the counter. She donned an exquisite pair of high-waisted, skin-tight jeans and a matching top that accentuated her graceful figure. Her name was Mia, a daring artist with a playful laugh that could lighten any mood. Oblivious to the growing line behind him, Brad sauntered over, feeling like the star of an old romantic comedy. As he reached her, prepared to utter something charming, his foot caught the edge of a mismatched rug, and he stumbled forward. "Hey!" he blurted out, arms flailing like a windmill in a storm. Miraculously, he didn't crash into her, but the coffee he had just ordered swung ominously, reaching its target. The unassuming barista. With an exaggerated gasp, Mia laughed, the kind of laughter that echoed warmly in the cafe. "Nice move. Is that a new flirting technique?" Torn between embarrassment and appreciation for her lightheartedness, Brad grinned sheepishly. "It's all part of my grand strategy. Probably needs some work." They shared a chuckle, but as their eyes met, temptation pulled Brad into a momentary trance. He felt a spark, an undeniable chemistry. But was he equipped to handle it? As he attempted to chat further, his boldness morphed into awkwardness. "So, have you ever tried jumping off a chair?" he blurted, remembering a failed prank before he could contain it. Her amused expression immediately shifted, eyebrows raised as she speculated if he was indeed serious. Mia responded with mock seriousness, "Only if the chair is exceptionally low." Despite herself, she burst out laughing once more, filling the cafe with contagious joy. Unbeknownst to him, this was the crux of Brad's dilemma. While he meant to charm, his flirtation often veered into ridiculous territory. Stumbling through their conversation, Brad attempted disarming jokes mixed with self-deprecation to win her over. Yet, as much as they connected in laughter, he noticed a flicker of embarrassment crossing her face whenever he steered the discussion toward overly personal jokes. Inadvertently, he had crossed an invisible line of comfort. "Hey, I appreciate how informational and, unique your jokes are." Mia simulated seriousness, "but how about we stick to coffee next time?" Brad's heart sank. He took it in stride with a blessing in disguise. "I'll take you up on that. 2 coffees and less jumping off chairs." After their exchange, Brad slumped outside the cafe, his charisma sometimes feeling more like a curse than a charm. The allure of tight jeans and playful banter draped around him like a mock badge of honor, yet here he was, seeking change. In moments of reflection, he admitted to himself that he needed a new approach. Not just to gain attention, but to genuinely connect with women. As he walked home, the incident paired with Mia's humor began to stir an understanding within him. Perhaps humorous escapades should not solely rely on attraction but also on mutual respect. Real intimacy blossomed not just from shared laughter but from an appreciation of personality, quirks, and boundaries. This spontaneous yet slightly awkward coffee encounter became a lesson perpetuated throughout the city as his adventures continued. Every interaction carved out a path leading to more meaningful friendships than mere flirts and jests. The world he had initially observed through the lens of tight jeans now revealed richer, more intricate designs of connection. A colorful mosaic he was eager to explore further. Brad's misadventures in flirtation were winding the threads of growth, hinting at the blossoming potential beyond laughter alone. The great block party as the sun dipped below the horizon, the vibrant heart of Brad's neighborhood buzzed with energy. Balloons danced in the warm breeze, and the smell of sizzling food wafted through the air, drawing families and friends out of their homes like moths to a flame. It was the night of the annual neighborhood block party, and for Brad, this was not just any event. It was an opportunity to shine amidst the chaotic charm of social gatherings, especially given his ongoing obsession with women in tight jeans. Brad stood in front of his mirror, adjusting the collar of his brightly colored shirt. He smirked at his reflection, a blend of charming confidence and nervous energy. "Tonight's the night, Brad," he muttered to himself, half expecting the mirror to offer advice on how to approach women without unintentionally making a fool of himself. He winked, cracked his neck, and set off, the vibrant sounds of celebration beckoning him like a siren's call. Upon arrival, Brad was immediately swept up in the merriment. Families were sprawled on blankets, laughter echoed through the streets, and tables were laden with colorful dishes, each a story of its own. He spotted a group of stylish women, each one more alluring than the last, holding cups of lemonade and chatting animatedly about the latest fashion trends. His heart raced as he steeled himself to approach them, but as he moved closer, his foot found purchase on an unseen grape, launching him into an unintended somersault. The world spun briefly around him before he landed gracelessly at the feet of the ladies, who burst into uproarious laughter. Embarrassed but determined, Brad shot them a winning smile. "Just checking if the ground was as soft as it looks." The laughter grew as they helped him back to his feet, their initial surprise quickly giving way to friendly teasing. Brad chuckled, brushing off his pride as he joined in the banter. He realized, as the evening progressed, that a clumsy entry could lead to charming connections if approached with humor. Throughout the night, Brad became the accidental star of the block party. His attempts to impress were met with a series of slapstick mishaps. Tripping over discarded party hats, spilling lemonade on himself, and even getting caught in the string of a giant piñata that swung dangerously over the crowd. With each misadventure, laughter followed, lightening the mood around him. Instead of feeling humiliated, he found himself thriving in the attention, his charm heightened by his willingness to embrace absurdity. As the chaos unfolded, Brad spotted Jennifer, a woman he'd admired from afar. She wore the tightest of jeans, stylishly paired with a flowing top. He'd had a crush on her since his first day in the neighborhood, and now, amid a comedic catastrophe, he had a perfect chance to talk to her. However, the universe had other plans. As he attempted to approach her, a stray soccer ball aimed directly at his head sent him staggering into a garden fountain, creating an explosion of water and a new level of drenched embarrassment. The crowd roared with laughter, and even Jennifer was doubled over, tears in her eyes. Not from anger, but from sheer amusement. She helped him out of the fountain, her laughter infectious and kind. As they stood there, water dripping from his clothes, Brad realized that the moments of chaos had brought them closer than any smooth pickup line ever could. By the end of the evening, Brad had learned something profound amidst the wild antics. Humor had become his bridge. Not just to charm women but to connect genuinely with everyone around him, including new friends and those he had previously admired from a distance. As he soaked in the laughter and camaraderie, Brad felt a sense of growth, understanding that real attraction was as much about respect and companionship as it was about looks. As the block party wound down and the glow of string lights softened, he left the event with more than just stories of clumsy humor in his pocket. He found a path to deeper connections, and although his antics would be remembered, it was the warmth of friendship and laughter that would truly define him moving forward. From guffaws to growth, as the sun began to set on the vibrant city, casting golden rays across the bustling streets, Brad felt a fresh sense of purpose in the colorful surroundings. His humorous escapades from the block party lingered in his mind, each laughter shared echoing in his heart like a melody he never wanted to end. It was time for a shift. He could sense it. While his playful flirtations had driven many of his interactions, he suddenly craved something deeper. Friendships. However, he still cherished his knack for humor, wanting to leverage it, but with a more thoughtful touch. The idea began with a single conversation. Brad walked briskly towards his favorite cafe, the aromatic brew of fresh coffee calling to him. His mind whirled with potential plans on how to charm the eclectic crowd he had grown fond of. On this particular day, as he entered, he spotted Lily, the barista with an infectious laugh and an affinity for colorful aprons, who had often been the subject of his light-hearted banter. "Hey, Lily, I have a brilliant idea for the community. How about a comedy night at the cafe? We could use my special brand of humor, and you never know, maybe some hidden talents will shine," Brad exclaimed enthusiastically, adopting a dramatic flair. Lily tilted her head, her smile breaching into a giggle. "You do realize that humor isn't just about the punchlines, right?" "It's a connection," she replied playfully, her teasing tone light yet sincere. She understood that beneath Brad's comical facade, he also had the potential for deeper relationships. This moment sparked something within him. He envisioned a night where people gathered not just to laugh but to connect. A platform where he was the catalyst for sparking friendships. But first, he needed to ensure that he respected each individual he interacted with. And involve them in the journey, not just make them the punchline. Over the next few days, Brad sought out his newfound friends from the block party. He approached Max, the local chef with his unique fusion dishes, suggesting he pair his culinary skills with the comedic event by serving up small bites. Max exploded in laughter. "If you think my food can distract from your punchlines, you're in for a surprise." Then there was Rachel, the talented yet shy musician who had blown everyone away with her singing during the party. After coaxing her into participating with the promise of a warm-up act before headlining the comedy, Rachel finally relented with a bashful smile, her eyes sparkling at the thought of sharing her talents. Brad felt incredible growth inside him. Laughter now seemed less of a self-absorption tool and more of a bridge connecting him with others. As he met each person, he aimed to uplift, leaving behind his earlier self-absorbed antics. The comedy night approached, buzzing with anticipation. Friends, acquaintances, and even some friendly faces from the community rallied together, each contributing their unique touch to the event. Prepared to embrace the night with humor and connection, Brad took to the improvised stage, now a platform of mutual respect rather than just banter at the expense of others. That evening, laughter filled the cafe, a magnetic pull drawing everyone closer. Brad introduced the acts, weaving stories and connecting anecdotes that made the crowd chuckle heartily. His jokes were no longer about superficial interactions but embedded with genuine warmth. Every punchline lifted the spirit of camaraderie, as his friends joined him on stage, sharing their talents, sparking delightful interactions. Lily's eyes sparkled with pride as she peeked over the counter, nodding in admiration while Brad performed. "You're much more than just the guy in tight jeans now, Brad," she called out, laughter in her voice. As the crowd roared with laughter, he realized that these connections were what he had longed for. Brad had transformed from the charming bachelor known for comedic mishaps to a beloved figure weaving laughter into genuine friendships. Life in the bustling city was no longer just about the allure of tight jeans. It was the joy of shared moments that truly counted. In that vibrant cafe, Brad learned that laughter is a universal language, one that, when shared, grows immeasurably beyond its initial intent. Dash 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 dash. Title: Brad's Binding Adventure. Setting the scene. The town of Tjssville. In the quirky little town of Tjssville, renowned for its eccentric festivals and even quirkier customs, the annual Tight Jeans Day was the highlight of the year. A day when all citizens, regardless of gender, donned the skimpiest, trendiest, and most colorful tight jeans they could find. The streets were lined with food trucks selling everything from spicy taco cones to rainbow-infused lemonade, while music echoed from the town square as local bands played. In this vibrant atmosphere, we meet our protagonist, Brad, a well-meaning, somewhat awkward guy whose love for fashion often landed him in comical struggles. Characters: Brad Thompson, a 25-year-old aspiring fashion designer who has always felt a keen interest in style. Although he was creative, his social skills often left much to be desired. Brad had a peculiar collection of jeans. The tighter, the better. But his real motivation was to make friends and feel a part of the community. Lucy Evergreen, a confident 24-year-old photographer and influencer known for her colorful, edgy style. She moved to Tjssville to pursue her dream of capturing fashion in real life, and she is a key player in local events. Lucy dreams of showcasing her work in high-end fashion magazines while secretly pining for love. Amber Chen, a 26-year-old fitness instructor and local champion of positivity, Amber runs Fit and Fabulous, a gym focused on body positivity. She loves connecting with her students and often leads groups in exercises while wearing the latest in gym fashion. She wishes to create a supportive community and unexpectedly finds herself an ally to Brad. Beginning. The Tight Jeans Day preparation. As Tight Jeans Day approached, Brad nervously prepped for the big event. He had decided that this year, he'd showcase his unique tight jean design at the central gathering. Little did he know, Lucy was working on a photo series featuring individuals showcasing their unique fashion choices, and she had her eyes on capturing Brad in action. On the day before the festival, he runs into Lucy at a local cafe. Over coffee, the two bond over their dreams, but Brad fumbles through conversation, catching glimpses of Lucy's striking personality. He can't help but notice the group of women in tight jeans at the next table. A fitting theme for Tjssville. Feeling giddy and out of place, Brad plays with his brand new denim creation. Middle. The festival unfolds. As Tight Jeans Day kicks off, the town is electric. Bands start to play spirited tunes, while groups of residents strut their stuff in fashionable glory. Brad's fashion show starts off strong, showcasing some outrageous but fantastic designs. Lucy snaps pictures, focusing on the joy and excitement of the event while her heart secretly races for Brad's unique perspective. Turning point 1. During his big moment, Brad accidentally spills a drink on one of the models. To the town's surprise, instead of panicking, he turns it into part of the act, creating an impromptu abstract art theme. The crowd erupts with laughter and cheers. Lucy captures the humor and charm of the moment, and it ignites a realization. Brad's creativity is potent, sparking an unexpected chemistry between them. Interconnected subplots. 1. Amber's support. During the event, Amber organizes a mini workout competition featuring women in tight jeans, promoting body positivity. She bumps into Brad, who sheepishly admires the chaos of supportive energy. She decides to help Brad channel his creativity into a workout-themed collection. 2. Fashion rivalry. A flamboyant competitor, Maddox, arrives in the hopes of taking the crown for the best genie. He critiques Brad's designs, leaving him flustered. However, Lucy encourages Brad to embrace his originality, highlighting why Titesville celebrates such creativity. 3. Community bonding. As laughter and friendships blossom amidst the festival, Brad starts to forge connections that eluded him in the past. With Amber's encouragement, he engages with attendees, shares his vision, and becomes a part of Titesville's fabric. Turning point 2. The Big Parade. The town hosts a parade featuring an array of characters emblazoned in exciting colors and tight jeans. Brad arms himself with confidence, guided by Lucy's supportive gaze. Amidst the parade, he accidentally bumps into Maddox, leading to an unexpected comedic duel over style. The crowd roars, and Brad finds his voice, defending creativity over conformity. Finale. Realization and heartfelt connections. As the sun sets, the evening festivities wrap up. The townsfolk gather around for awards and prizes, breaking out into a joyous dance. Brad is awarded the Most Creative Spirit for his designs, and Lucy declares her desire to collaborate with him on future projects. Turning point 3. As the closing act plays, Brad gathers courage and, inspired by Amber and his newfound friendships, asks Lucy if she'd like to work together on an upcoming fashion column. Surprised but excited, Lucy agrees, propelling Brad into a new chapter of his life. Conclusion. Embracing change. The festival ends not just with an array of tight jeans being celebrated but with Brad realizing that his creativity and quirky spirit make him charming, regardless of his social stumbles. He's found a community where he belongs, and the unexpected friendships guiding him forward feel like the ultimate fashion statement. In the end, Titesville stands not only for the celebration of fashion but also for the colorful connections made along the journey, reminding everyone that assistance, camaraderie, and a good laugh can create the best styles of all. The end. The Colorful Adventures of Brad and the Tight Jeans Crew. Chapter 1. The Start of Something New. In the vibrant city of Cedarwood, where the sun kissed the streets with golden rays and laughter echoed from every corner, lived a young man named Brad. With tousled hair and a knack for finding adventure, he was known for his infectious enthusiasm and charming smile. Yet, Brad had a unique fascination. He was particularly captivated by the style of tight jeans that adorned many of the girls in his universe. A day at the park. One sunny Saturday, Brad and his best friends, Lily and Emma, decided to spend the day at Central Park. The park was a hub of activity, filled with the scent of blooming flowers and the sound of laughter intermingling with the chirping of birds. The air was warm, and the golden light created an atmosphere of joyful nostalgia. As they strolled through the park, Brad couldn't help but notice the girls around him. "Wow, there must be a special event today," he mused, admiring the way the tight jeans accentuated their style and confidence. Lily chuckled, "It's just a Saturday, Brad. You always find something to be amazed about." Building connections. Lily, a spirited artist with dreams of making it big, often encouraged Brad to express his thoughts like he did his art. Emma, on the other hand, was a budding writer, coaxing him to think deeper about his surroundings. "Why don't you just go talk to them?" she nudged with a playful grin, already plotting to gather material for her next story. Gathering his courage, Brad approached a group of girls laughing nearby. They were an exciting mix of personalities, each one more vibrant than the last. Maya, a dancer with aspirations of performing on Broadway, Sophie, a local poet whose words flowed like water, and Zara, a tech whiz with ambitions to change the world. "Hey," Brad greeted brightly. "Your energy is contagious. Can I join?" To his surprise, the girls welcomed him, and a spontaneous park party began to unfold, filled with laughter and friendly conversations. Chapter 2. The Garden of Dreams. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, the group found themselves in a quieter part of the park, known as the Garden of Dreams. The serenity of the garden allowed for deeper conversations, and Brad discovered more about each girl's aspirations. Maya revealed her dreams of Broadway, Sophie shared her poetry, and Zara explained her recent tech project aimed at empowering young women in technology. A new challenge suddenly, Lily interrupted with a light-hearted notion, "Let's have a challenge. Each of us should attempt to embody the spirit of someone else in the group for an hour." Brad, hearing this, was both excited and terrified. The challenge revealed not just their personalities, but their fears and insecurities. In a playful twist, Brad decided to channel Zara, resulting in an amusing tech-inspired skit that had everyone in stitches. As they laughed, Brad felt a strong connection forming with the girls, realizing that beyond their fashion choices, there was depth and passion that resonated with him. A turning point. Just when everything seemed to perfect, tensions arose as Zara's tech project faced criticism from a local investor. The girls rallied around her, showing strength in unity. Inspired, Brad took it upon himself to support Zara by organizing a mini presentation in the park to showcase her idea, pulling the community together in a show of support. Chapter 3. The Festival of Unity. Months passed, and Cedarwood was preparing for its annual Festival of Unity. The event celebrated diversity, creativity, and togetherness. Brad and his friends decided to enter a skit that showcased their unique talents, intertwining dance, poetry, and technology. Rehearsals and growth. During rehearsals, Brad's admiration for the girls deepened. Each rehearsal not only honed their performance but also solidified their bond. Brad's ability to lift the group's spirits made him realize how much love and friendship meant to him. He learned that the essence of connection goes beyond surface-level admiration. Festival Day. The day of the festival arrived, with the city bustling with excitement. They performed flawlessly, each girl shining in her elements. The crowd erupted in applause, and amidst the cheers, Brad felt a surge of joy, not just for the performance but for the friendships that had blossomed. Chapter 4. Triumphs and Realizations. With their skit earning widespread acclaim, Brad and the girls were invited to present their project at a larger venue. However, amidst the celebration, Brad faced a personal realization. He had developed friendships that meant far more than his initial attraction to their appearance. He appreciated the strength, creativity, and passion they each brought into his world. One night, sitting together under the stars after the festival, Brad confessed, "I thought I was just captivated by tight jeans, but it is really about the amazing people you are. You've all inspired me to be more than I thought possible." The girls smiled, their hearts warmed by his sincerity. A final twist. But the happiness was short-lived when they learned that due to budget cuts, their project might not receive funding. United, they crafted a plan to raise awareness and funds, rallying the community that had embraced them throughout their journey. Chapter 5. A New Beginning. The fundraiser turned out to be a massive success, with the entire community coming together to support the cause. Brad realized then that true friendship was about standing by each other through challenges and celebrating triumphs together. His world expanded from a narrow fascination to an understanding of shared dreams and collaborative growth. In the end, Brad learned that love and admiration come in many forms. He treasured the connections he had made. Deep, inspiring, and full of potential. The vibrant color of cedarwood became a backdrop to their journey of friendship, adventure, and self-discovery. Epilogue. Looking ahead, as they stood together on a rooftop overlooking the city, the sun setting in a burst of colors, Brad turned to his friends. "What's next?" Their laughter echoed against the skyline, a promise of future adventures. With dreams and friendship intertwined, they were ready to embrace whatever came next, united by the vibrant threads they had woven into their lives. And as the night fell, cedarwood sparkled beneath them, a testament to their colorful adventures and the love that blossomed amidst laughter, creativity, and unexpected journeys. Title: The Enchanted Festival of Breezewood. Chapter 1. The Gathering Storm. In the mystical town of Breezewood, the air buzzed with excitement as its annual Enchanted Festival approached. The streets were lined with colorful stalls, twinkling lights, and an aroma of sweet treats weaving through the crisp autumn air. Known for its vibrant attire, the festival was a celebration of fashion, creativity, and togetherness. Brad, a kind-hearted and adventurous young man, had always been a part of these festivities, but this year felt different. Growing up in Breezewood, he often shared delightful moments with his friends, especially with a trio of spirited girls. Mia, a bubbly artist with a knack for fashion. Zoe, a quirky inventor with dreams of creating the next best gadget. And Lila, a passionate dancer who could light up any room. Brad had a playful side. His friends often teased him about his endearing fondness for fashion, particularly for girls in well-tailored jeans. It was a light-hearted joke amongst the group, often leading to laughter and spontaneous banter during the festival preparations. Chapter 2. light-hearted adventures. As the festival drew near, the girls decided to showcase their creativity through a collaborative project. They set up a booth, chic in Breezewood, where fashion and fun merged. Mia designed stunning outfits, Zoe crafted quirky accessories, and Lila choreographed dance routines that captured the spirit of their vibrant community. Brad eagerly joined in on the preparations, always jumping at the chance to help his friends. He found himself surrounded by laughter and cheerful camaraderie. However, there was a noticeable shift in the dynamic this year. The trio teased him less about his playful admiration for their genes and more about the strong bond they all shared. Turning point 1. The unplanned dance. One afternoon, while decorating their booth with shimmering lights, Lila proposed an impromptu dance break. With a playlist of upbeat melodies, they let loose, twirling and laughing without a care. In an unexpected moment, a playful flick of her wrist sent Brad tumbling backward, accidentally knocking over a stack of jeans. The scene erupted in laughter, and amidst the jovial atmosphere, the friends playfully engaged in a tug-of-war with the fallen clothes. The laughter echoed through Breezewood, creating a ripple of joy that attracted others to join in. The spontaneity of the moment reminded Brad of the essence of the festival. Celebrating friendship, creativity, and the joy of being together. Chapter 3. Bonds that strengthen. As the festival approached, each friend grappled with their personal challenges. Mia struggled with the pressure of her art being showcased, worried that it might not resonate with others. Zoe, burdened by a recent invention failure, sought validation in her creativity. Lila, feeling the weight of expectations as an aspiring dancer, questioned her future. During their late-night brainstorming sessions over mugs of hot cocoa, they shared their doubts and dreams, fortifying their bond. Brad played the role of the supportive friend, encouraging them to embrace their individuality and uniqueness. He found himself reassuring Mia that her art was as vibrant as the colors around them, inspiring Zoe to think outside the box, and reminding Lila of the magic she brought to every dance. Turning point 2. A festival revelation. The day of the Enchanted Festival arrived, and the town was alive with anticipation. As they unveiled their booth, the vibrant aura of creativity attracted festival goers. Brad, surrounded by laughter and cheering, felt more connected to his friends than ever. In the midst of the festival's excitement, a moment arose that tested their friendship. An unexpected visit from a local fashion critic who had the power to shape their futures. When the critic complimented their booth, the girls exchanged glances filled with exhilaration and anxiety. The reviewer expressed a desire to see the group perform, thrusting them into the spotlight. The decision was daunting, but the power of their friendship shone through. They embraced the challenge as a unifying moment, stepping out of their comfort zones together. Chapter 4. The Dance of Friendship. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, the group took the stage for an energetic performance. It was not just about showcasing their creativity. It was about celebrating the friendships and memories they had created together. The dance unfolded beautifully, a blend of laughter and rhythm, drawing cheers from the crowd. In that moment, Brad, amidst the energetic moves and synchronized choreography, felt a wave of joy. The admiration for his friend's creativity filled the air, connecting them all in an unspoken pact. They were not just friends or collaborators. They were a team, ready to face the world together. Turning point 3. Embracing individuality. As the performance concluded, the audience erupted into applause, marking a turning point for the girls. The critics' praise ignited a renewed sense of confidence within them, leading Mia to embrace her artistic style, Zoe to innovate more courageously, and Lila to pursue dance with newfound passion. Brad realized that his admiration was about appreciating the individuality of each of his friends, celebrating their uniqueness rather than focusing on external aspects. It was a journey of acceptance and self-love, one that had transformed their interactions. Chapter 5. An enchanted evening. The festival culminated in a grand finale, where flickering lanterns decorated the night sky. Amidst the celebration, Brad and the girls found themselves by the riverside, where the beauty of Breezewood reflected in the water. They shared their dreams, aspirations, and promises for the future. Laughter echoed, and in that moment, Brad understood that friendship transcended physicality. It was about empowerment, love, and the journey they took together. As they looked out over the shimmering river, Brad gently placed his arm around Mia, Zoe, and Lila, feeling grateful for their bond. It was a moment of connection, celebrating their individuality while fostering a deeper sense of togetherness. The end. A festival of dreams. With the enchanted festival behind them, Brad and his friends returned to their ordinary lives, enriched by the extraordinary moments they had shared. The festival had taught them about camaraderie, creativity, and the beauty of embracing each other's quirks. Years later, as they reminisced about that magical night, they realized that the essence of Breezewood transcended its beauty. It resided in the friendships, love, and the joy of simply being together. The enchantment of Breezewood lived on in their hearts, reminding them that the most beautiful stories were the ones they created together. The fabric of connection, setting the scene. In the not-so-distant future, the world of fashion has taken a daring turn. The city of Metrosphere, a vibrant urban haven filled with colorful holograms and technologies blending seamlessly with nature, has become the epicenter of a new fashion trend. Tjss evolution. Every corner is bustling with people flaunting their unique styles, as augmented reality mirrors allow citizens to see endless outfit combinations. The protagonist. Brad Dawson, a 25-year-old aspiring designer, works at a trendy boutique called Tight Threads. He's known for his quirky sense of humor and his unyielding optimism, even in a cutthroat industry. Growing up in a small town, raised by a single mother who was a seamstress, Brad discovered his passion for fashion early on. The joy he felt when customizing clothes instilled a love for creativity, and he moved to Metrosphere to fulfill his dreams. Yet, despite his talent, he struggles with self-doubt. Introducing complex characters. Emily. A spirited model and part-time barista with dreams of becoming a social media influencer. Emily has always been the life of the party, but beneath the surface, she battles insecurities from her upbringing in a wealthy family that pressured her to conform. She seeks genuine connections beyond superficial success. Diana. Brad's boss and a former model, who has built a successful career in fashion. She's confident and sharp, but a past scandal has left her wary of relationships. She sees potential in Brad, wanting him to break out of his shell, often pushing him out of his comfort zone. Marcus. Brad's best friend, a quick-witted tech enthusiast who creates fashion-related AR experiences. He's passionate but feels overshadowed by Brad's charm and talent. Their friendship is tested as Brad begins to outshine him in the boutique. Rising action. Weaving connections. As the story unfolds, Brad's focus is on creating the ultimate collection that will showcase the artistry of fabric and connection, inspired by his belief that clothing can bring people closer together. One day, while preparing for a fashion show, he accidentally spills paint on Emily's favorite pair of jeans. In a comical attempt to fix the mishap, their chemistry flourishes, leading to unexpected encounters and shared laughs. A true connection rooted in authenticity. The first turning point. Brad's designs attract attention, but he finds himself in awkward situations where his hands inadvertently brush against the models while handling clothing, leading to misunderstandings. The boutique's environment becomes charged with comedic tension as he tries to navigate the increasingly complex relationships, while Diana notices the chemistry brewing and encourages him to express his feelings. Complications and conflicts. As the boutique rises in popularity, Marcus feels left out, believing Brad is getting all the credit. Their friendship becomes strained when Marcus creates an AR experience for the fashion show that unintentionally overshadows Brad's designs. Feeling betrayed, Brad confronts Marcus, leading to a heated argument that threatens their friendship. Emily, observing this fallout, encourages both to channel their frustrations into creativity rather than animosity. Brad begins to realize that his true power lies not in individual glory but in collaboration. The second turning point. During the fashion show, the collection receives rave reviews, but a sudden technical malfunction threatens to derail everything. In the chaos, Brad and Marcus work together to fix the issue, racing against time. This moment of collaboration reignites their friendship and underscores the idea that connections, whether romantic or platonic, are built through challenges and triumphs. Climax. Unraveling the threads. The day after the show, Brad and Emily share a heartfelt moment. Brad, feeling more confident, admits his feelings, only to discover that Emily harbors feelings for him too. However, she reveals her fear of being judged or misunderstood in an industry so focused on appearance. Brad reassures her, and their bond deepens, but doubt lingers. Falling action. Stitching together. Diana, witnessing the transformation in her team, encourages everyone to embrace vulnerability. With newfound confidence, Brad invites Marcus and Emily to join him in creating a new line that blends fashion with storytelling. Clothes that reflect personal journeys and narratives of connection. Resolution. A fashionable future. With their collaboration, the trio launches a stunning new collection that integrates their experiences and emotions. The fashion line is a hit, celebrated for its authenticity and innovation. Brad learns that true connection extends beyond romantic interests. It also lies in friendship and community. As they stand together at the launch of their new line, Brad reflects on the journey of creativity, connection, and collaboration. The city of Metrosphere becomes a vibrant tapestry of relationships, woven together by shared experiences, laughter, and, of course, tightly styled jeans. Epilogue. Threads of tomorrow. Months later, as they prepare for new challenges, Brad, Emily, Marcus, and Diana look beyond their boutique, ready to explore new avenues in fashion. Their story becomes a testament to the value of connections amid an ever-changing world, proving that together, they can sew their wildest dreams into reality.